driven, because now most of trading going through B2B and B2C, and also when you look at these younger generations, obviously they are tech and they're living under virtually. So therefore, I think instead of waiting for another new district channel come for you, and you just look for your own through the B2B and B2C. And third is obviously I want to emphasize the branding power. Branding doesn't belong to big companies at all. What I learned is, especially in this new era in front of us, I think branding is very individualism for me, and also a new experience. Therefore, I think just one example, like even in Korea, women always been undermined because of their child rearing, a lot of personal kind of duty, as a household care. But I think even the Wakan new era emerged, they can make a ginseng cookie, let's say, as a well-being cookie. They can through the Yahoo and Google, and they can run the global business without problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sunju. I have to drag myself out of the luxury world and come back to the reality. Well, we got to have the gut to compete, yes, and so that the whole industry will be able to improve. And at the very beginning of this plenary, we had Himanshu sharing her idea as an IT service provider. And now we will have an IT product provider, Ms. Ying McGuire, Director of Global Supplier Diversity at Dell. She also wants me to mention her Chinese name, Shen Ying. We know that Dell has a very special supply chain, and Ying will tell us more.
Thank you very much. 尊敬的各位领导、各位嘉宾，早上好。
Good morning, dear leaders, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm the city of Chongqing, and to share the podium with all these outstanding leaders from around the world. And I'm with Dell Inc., based in Austin, Texas. I have the best job at Dell. I lead Dell's global supply diversity team, providing access to procurement opportunities for historically underutilized groups such as small, medium businesses, minority-owned, women-owned, and historic veterans, etc. And to help entrepreneurs, like many of you in the audience, like Song Jun and Himanshu, to gain access to corporate procurement opportunities and help them realize their economic full potential. And you might have thought I'm Irish. I got Irish last name there, right? But I am pure 100% Chinese. I was born and raised in this great country of China. And I have spent all my adult life in U.S., although my Chinese language is very rusty, but my heart still resides in my homeland of China. I'm pleased to be here today. So in the next 7.5 minutes, I have 7.5 minutes, right? I'm going to share with you two things. First, foremost, is talk about what does the post-crisis corporate supply chain look like? Secondly, I want to share with you what are your strategies and opportunities to take a part in this global supply chain and to have a share of the wallet. So let's take a look at post-crisis corporate supply chain. For the past few years, economic crisis has forced all corporations to have maniacal focus on cost reductions and look for ways to better control their cost across the global supply chain. As corporations emerged from the recession to confront new realities, new competitive threats, and in the reality of a pared down internal cost structure, they're seeking more bang for the buck from the global supply chain. And also, honestly, that reacting to relentless Wall Street pressures for short-term results, many corporations hastily formed decisions to source supply and production in lower cost regions of the globe without factoring the impact of localized wage inflation, high energy, and transportation costs. And so manufacturing have been moved to lower cost regions such as China, Penang, Mexico, Poland, and Brazil. And services have been being moved to India. We have many Indian friends here with us today. And corporations, when the labor rates in the East Coast of China and India began to rise, corporations began to go west in China, such as come to Chongqing, to take advantage of the lower labor costs and a better attrition rate. Attrition rate is very important to success of the corporation. And for example, one domestic food company based in Texas, they start to set up an R&D center in Vietnam, all the places. And labor-intensive call centers have been relocated to India, to Philippines, to Panama, and progressive corporations began to explore English-speaking African countries with the fiber optical infrastructure as their future low-cost call center locations for our friends from African countries. That's your opportunity on the horizon. The second thing I want to talk about is the bundled outsourcing. I'm just being very frank and honest with you here today. Fortune 500 companies are looking at how product moves to their customers from supply side more effectively and efficiently. And bundled outsourcing is prevailing. In the industrial age, a company focuses on manufacturing as its competitive advantage and see controls of its manufacturing environment very important. But in the modern world, company is decoupling itself from manufacturing components for flexibility over control. Earlier, Songjin talked about it's all about branding, right? It's no longer it's about manufacturing. So their business model has switched from a full wall-centric view where manufacturing drove the competitive advantage to a four corners of the world approach where managing the global supply chain dominates the battle and the strategic competitive advantage. So when I talk about bundling sourcing, they're bundling component sourcing, manufacturing facilities, supply chain partners as much as is economically possible. What was with the lean manufacturing has become even slimmer, and manufacturing facilities have been either streamlined, like we did a few years ago, or outsourced to third-party contractors, like we did the last couple of years. The number of suppliers has been reduced. Early, Himanshu talked about their supply consolidation, and the number of suppliers has been reduced for corporate supply chain. And companies with the global brands are increasingly focused on marketing, brand recognition, brand promotion, distributions, and a customer relationship management. And so the third thing I want to talk about is complexity and the risk management. When a company manufactures parts in India and South America with the materials from China and assemble them in Poland and sell the finished goods worldwide, you can imagine the complexity management and risk management is the key. And the risks are many. You can imagine continuing crisis from supply bankruptcy because streaming the financial market and oil price increases, labor strikes, technology failure, Somalia pirates, swine flu outbreaks remind all of us of the supply chain very vulnerable and very complex. And the recession was really a rough time for supply management, most around managing supply financial risk. Most companies are looking to improve their supply chain performance by shifting more risk onto the backs of the suppliers, and that means a new set of risk management challenges. But as you know, if there's a challenge, there's opportunities, right? I do want to paint you a very optimistic picture today. Let's talk about strategy before we talk about opportunities. Strategy, first foremost, as SME, my job is to help SME to take a part in the corporate supply chain. As SME, foremost important thing is global scale. Himanshu earlier talked about you must go global. You must have a global scalability. A recent survey of some 350 supply chain executives from across the globe was done by a consultant named PRTM. They said in 2010, roughly 50% of the companies will manage supply chain planning on global integrated level. And that, in contrast of 60% companies projected to 2020. So as you